talking about business finance, income and expenditure, and here is the scenario. Okay. So let's have a look at it. Let's read it and understand what's going on here. Consider the following basic example of Jeremy, who makes sandwiches and sells them by a busy intersection in Cape Town Central Business District, or the CBD. The following table indicates a summary for the income and expenses for Jeremy's sandwich business. Okay. Now, first of all, for those guys that were here last week, you'll notice that we're using a different word here, which means the same thing, but instead of costs, we're using the word expenses here. It means the same thing. This is money going out of the business that you are paying and is leaving your business. And the income, it's what's coming in when you sell things. Okay. So instead of using cost like we did last week, we're using the word expenses here. It means the same thing. All right, let's have a look at the table. We have two columns. We have an income and an expenses column. On the left, the income, it says there R8.50 per sandwich. So one sandwich, R8.50. Now, if this is income, then this is the when he sells. All right, when he sells. Okay, when he sells a sandwich, that is the income. All right, Buela and Tato, Hugo will help you guys out with that. There was a good question here. If I missed the quiz, can I do last week's quiz today? You can't do last week's quiz today, but check on the Watobe website. There might be a link to it. Just check there. But tonight we're going to give you, so we're not going to give you a quiz tonight. Sorry, on Thursday we'll give you a quiz based on tonight and Thursday's lesson. Okay. All right. So the income column tells us about the money that comes in when you sell sandwiches. All right. So this is coming into the business. Now, this obviously the best part of the business, running a business, is the money that you get in. All right. And we spoke about that R8.50. Just remind me again, who can tell me, how did this person come up with a selling price of R8.50 per sandwich? What recommendations you guys gave to me last week? What should we do to come up with this R8.50? How do we determine this price? Who can help me remind me? How do we determine the selling price? We worked out last week cost price and expense price. We worked out why it costs something like R3.50 for a sandwich. Remember, we did the example with the donuts. But how do we determine the selling price? All right. How do we get to that figure, R8.50? Why do you think this person has decided on R8.50? Who can tell me? Who's out there that can tell me could we come up with this figure of R8.50? All right. How do we figure that out? What should we do? Come on, you guys gave excellent recommendations last time. All right, Oliver saying, sir, you got to think of profit. You got to take your cost price and add on whatever profit you want to make. Good. All right. So Oliver is saying, so think about how much profit you want to make, add it to your cost price, and that'll tell you what your selling price is going to be. Good. That is a very good answer. So that's purely mathematical. Any other suggestions? How can we come up with R8.50, guys? Where can we get this figure from? Another suggestion besides saying how much profit do you want to make? Any other suggestions? You guys came up with fantastic suggestions last time. What's wrong with the group tonight? Are you guys really into your holiday? Like, you've been told to switch on tonight, but you still going to be chilled, like you're on holiday. Come on, where there's these. Oh yeah, okay. So Sonia, we did an example where we worked out the cost price to make one donut based on a recipe. So we had all these ingredients and we knew how much they cost in the shop. So we did an exercise where we worked out how much does it cost to make 24 donuts, and then we divided the answer by 24 to get a rand price to make one donut. And then I said, well, guys, what are we going to sell the donut for? What price are we going to sell the donut for? How do we determine that? So Oliver King saying, take this cost price and then work out how much profit you want to make, and that'll tell you what you should sell at. Okay, so Lebechen saying, take the cost price, add the profit you want, and then that'll tell you what your selling price is. But look here, let's say, for example, I had a donut and I know it cost me R1.50, all right, to make that donut. What I really want is 50 Rand profit. Oh, this is an easy math problem. Then I must sell the donuts for 51 Rand 50. Easy. Yes? Is that a reasonable way to do it? Okay, would you guys do this? You're saying take the cost price, add on the profit that you want, and that'll tell you what your selling price is. Is that a good way to do it? What do you guys think? What do you think? Is my formula a good idea? Any suggestions? Why not, Sonia? Why is it not a good idea? Why is that price not good? I want to make 50 Rand profits. Why can't I sell the donut at 51 Rand 50? All I'm doing is taking how much profit I want to make, 50 Rand, add it to the cost price, and this becomes my selling price, 51 Rand 50. Why is this not a good idea? So Sonia's saying, so you don't know if it's too high or too low for people. So then what should I do to determine my selling price? Come on, ladies and gentlemen. You guys are probably, most of you are going to be running businesses one day. Hey, aren't you guys going to be businessmen and women? What should I do to determine my selling price? Who would like to come on it and give us some advice, some business advice? We are the business-minded people out there. Unmute and tell me. Raise your hand if you want me to unmute you and speak to me. Tell me what I should do. All you business-minded people. Oh, they're all quiet tonight. You go. There's Katlejo. All right, Katlejo, just check your screen. You should see it.
Hello, sir.
How are you?
I'm good, and you, sir?
Good. Tell me, what should I do?
So remember the last time when I told you that we can also use the demand and supply to determine our price.
Yes, very good. Yes, so Katlejo mentioned this last week, and she said, so demand and supply. Figure out what the demand is, and if you can supply it. Let's say, for example, there are 3 people making donuts, and they make 100 donuts each, that's 300 donuts, but the demand is for 1,000 donuts. Then people are going to be paying a lot of money to get their hands on a donut if they want one. So there's a huge demand, and the supply can't meet the demand, which means you can then raise your price. So yes, checking what the demand and the supply is. Yes, Katlejo, I remember you said that. Well done. Thank you
and
very
also,
much.
sir, and also, so we have to also check our law of demand.
Law of demand. Tell us more.
Yes. When it comes to the law of demand, the moment when we increase our prices, let's say our demand might decrease due to the increase of the price. But the moment when we see that we are losing more consumers to our product, then we can negotiate and decrease our price, and then our consumers will start to increasing, and then we'll have more people buying our product.
Yes, very good. You sound like a very business-minded person. It's fantastic. I look forward to hearing about you running a huge corporation, the CEO of a massive corporation. All right, fantastic. Thank you so much. That's brilliant.
Thank you, sir.
So Deko's saying, increase your prices slowly but surely. Push them up, push them up, push them up, push them up, and then you start losing customers because the customer's like, hold on, all right, I don't actually need a donut for 50 Rand anymore. It's not really worth it. And then they'll stop buying, and then your number of customers drops, and then you bring your price down again until it starts to pick up again, and then you kind of reach that level, and you can adjust it depending on supply and demand. All right, very good, very interesting. You must target people. All right, so Mbambo's saying, sir, you got to target people. So Mbambo, where are you? What does that mean? Hey, what does target people mean? Check your screen there. There's an option to unmute. Explain to us, Mbambo.
Good day, sir.
Good day, how are you?
I'm good, and you, sir?
Good. What does it mean, target people?
So first thing, you must check people who always like the stuff, and they can see, if you make a platform of
Yeah,
pictures
yeah.
where people can support you by saying you need something here, you must come and buy it, then you go.
All right, excellent, good idea. So that's targeting people through marketing. So Bob was saying target people through marketing, and you can create a demand. You can create this idea
Yes,
that people want the product. Yes, and then you can push your prices up because the demand is there. Very good, Bumble. I like your thinking.
also
Yes,
you can start a business there, so that every person who wants to buy, they must go to you
yes.
to buy
Start a
something.
business. Yeah, so Bob was saying create a business where you are the only person to supply, and then you can determine the price, any price you want. Yes, you guys have got brilliant ideas. Brilliant
Thanks,
ideas.
sir.
Thank you, Bobo. Fantastic. Now, lady, we're just talking about finances in terms of a business, income and expenditure, the income and expenses of a business. And we have a scenario here on the screen. I'm going to rub out this ridiculous price for a donut because donuts should never ever be 51 Rand 50. We have a scenario here on the screen. We have a business. A person is selling sandwiches in the Cape Town CBD, and they've got an income column which is saying that the sandwiches will be sold at 8.50. And we have an expenses column. We're just about to go into the expenses column now, but we're just getting ideas of how do we determine the selling price. Just some interesting ideas on how do we determine the selling price. Another idea is to check your competitors. If your competitors are very high in their selling price, if you drop a little bit below them, you will attract buyers to your business. So competing is also another thing you can do. Check your competitors. Now, 1 minute before we move on, companies sometimes collude. All right, they sometimes collude. Collusion. What that means is you'll get 3 companies that make donuts, the only 3 companies that make donuts, and the 3 bosses will phone each other. And they'll say, listen, guys, we're all competing with each other. And if we all compete, each one is going to have to push their price low to try and attract customers. Why don't we all agree to have the same price, the price we want, that no one is lower, and we can all 3 determine the price, and we can all make money. Instead of one of us being lower and makes all the money, we all have the same price, no one is lower, and then we will determine the price, and the customer doesn't have a choice. So the customer usually has power in choosing to buy, but if there's collusion, the customer gets that power taken away from it, and the businesses will gain that power. And we have organizations in our country that try and stop collusion. So they'll look at a price of a liter of milk and they say, these guys, this is not a realistic price. Someone is colluding here. Let's investigate. How much does it actually cost? How much profit is fair? What is their price? No, there's collusion happening here and they can get fined. Okay, so we have those organizations in our country. Let's talk about the expenses here. We have fixed, all right? Now, if you were here last week, the word fixed relates to the running costs of producing, all right? Remember we spoke about the running, but tonight we're using the word fixed cost, the running costs. And then we have the variable costs. This is the production cost. All right, the cost to produce, and this depends on how many sandwiches you make. The running cost doesn't depend on how many sandwiches you make. Who can give an example of a running cost? Running and production. Yes, running and production. I'll change the word to production. All right. A production cost, how much it costs to produce, and a running cost. Okay, who can tell me what is an example of a running cost or a fixed cost? The first one there, the 250. What could they be talking about there in the running cost, ladies and gentlemen? Give me an example of what costs this person. Okay, rent. All right, if they have to rent a space, yes, rent. Rent has got nothing to do with how many sandwiches they make. Okay, Electricity, yes, if they need to use electricity. Storage, yes. All these things don't have anything to do with how many sandwiches they make. They're costs that happen just to keep the business running in the background. A vehicle, very good. Petrol to run the vehicle. Insurance to run the vehicle. A driver for the vehicle. Vehicles in themselves. Salaries for the driver who runs the vehicle. Very good. Okay, so those are all running costs. Very good examples of running costs. So if they're asking in the exam, you have examples in hand. The production costs, all right, this is the items that are going to go into producing the sandwich itself, all right? So someone here is mentioning bread. That is going to be a production cost for producing a sandwich. Okay, so how much the things that go into a sandwich, those they are determined by how many sandwiches you make. So those costs will increase depending on how many sandwiches you make, the ingredients, the flour, the meat, the lettuce. I don't understand the point of lettuce, but yes, lettuce, things like that, the sauces, all these things. Okay, so those are all production costs. They go into producing one item. Okay, running costs, the amount of electricity your business uses got nothing to do with how many sandwiches you make, or really nothing to do. The rent doesn't really, it's not determined by how many sandwiches you make. It's a separate thing that runs in the background. Think of it like that. Okay. Production is directly related to how many sandwiches you make. All right. So these are our income items. Yes, exactly. Above all. These are our income items and our expenses items here. Now, let's have a look at the first question here. You need to develop equations. All right. Now, please do not stress about the word equations. It's just a story sum with some math symbols in it. Okay. Develop an equation to represent Jeremy's income and expenses for his business. In this equation, I've started here, for example, the income one, I've started with the word income. We can use words. I could use I for income. All right. A letter I for income. We can use the word as well, but I've said here specifically, instead of writing the word sandwich, I mean, who wants to write that whole thing out? Let's use the letter S for sandwich. Okay, so when you're talking about the income, how do we determine the income? And when you speak about a sandwich, if you need to, just use the letter S. All right, you guys are going to tell me what equation can I have for income? How do we determine this business's income? Your income equals what kind of calculation? What calculation will get you your income? Think of if you're trying to explain to someone, and you're saying, well, how does your business make money? How does your business make money? And you explain to them with words. All right, we're just going to translate those words into something that is usable in an equation. All right. I saw a hand go up there, but I think it might have gone down very quickly. Emmanuel, was that you? Come on, Emmanuel. Don't run away now. Oh,
Good afternoon, sir.
good afternoon. Yeah, you see, try to run away and I got you, yeah?
Not really, sir. Not really. I thought I should give someone a chance.
All
right.
right. You lead the pack. All right, here we go. Tell me, how do we determine income?
Income, you're going to have to take the price for the object minus the total cost that it was to make the object. The difference is your income.
Now I think you're referring to the term profits. Determine profit. That's the price to sell. The income minus the cost will give you the profit. I'm just talking about income now. The money coming into this business. How does this person work out how much money they're going to make in a day? What calculation do they do to say, oh, if I sell this many sandwiches, how much could I make in a day? What kind of math are they doing? And you're going to use the letter S somewhere there. S for sandwiches. So take the sandwiches and do some math with the sandwiches to tell me how they're going to get their income.
Okay, sir. Thank you for the hint. What I think is that you're going to take the income is the number of sandwiches multiplied by the price that you're selling it by.
Perfect. All right. So you say, Emmanuel's saying, so you take the price per sandwich and then you multiply it by the number of sandwiches you sell. Now, for sandwiches, we're using the letter S. All right, Emmanuel, that is exactly what I wanted. Thank you very much. So S here, It looks like a 5, and I can see guys in chat are also putting stuff in there. All right. S is how many sandwiches you sell. So if you sell a certain number of sandwiches in a day, and each one costs R8.50, you're going to make money selling those sandwiches that's coming into your business. Okay. So the income is determined by how many sandwiches you sell. That's all. The only way you get money into this business is by selling sandwiches. So to calculate income, you've got to take the number of sandwiches you sold that day and multiply by R8.50 because you're selling them at R8.50. Okay. All right. Now the income equation is done. There it is. Very simple. No horrible, core maths things here. Very simple equation that we can use. Okay. Now let's move on to the expenses one. Now for expenses, you can see the right-hand column there. There's all the information. So we're going to use that information and the letter S to help build the expenses equation underneath here. So there's the information at the top, and here is the word expenses. All right, at the bottom here. To get your expenses, you will have to do what? All right, yes, and Bubble, that's an example. Who would like to help me? Just raise your hand. Who'd like to help me? Guys, there's got to be someone out there. All right, don't worry. When you see this equation, it'll make sense here. We're just creating, I can't even say it's mathematical sentences. It's just an expression, a math expression that will help us. You'll see later on in question 2 why we're doing this, but we're just creating some equations here. They're just sentences. Like, for example, this expression that I have here in front of me for income, I could say to this person, Jeremy, to work out your income for your business, take the number of sandwiches, S, and multiply by how much you are selling your sandwiches for, which is R8.50. So it's a sentence explaining how this business gets income. That's all it is. All right. I know when you guys see the word equation, and all of a sudden a headache appears, and it's like, oh no, I can't. Don't worry about the word equation. It's just a sentence to express how the money is coming in or going out. All right, so Sonia's making a suggestion. Maybe we should add all the costs together. Yes, Sonia, we do need to add the fixed and the variable costs together. So we will need to add them. Okay, so I'm going to put a plus here. Add the costs together to get your expenses. Very good, Sonia. So there we go. And then I got Chiamo that's making a suggestion saying R8.50 plus 350 times S. Okay, now Chiamo is very, very close to an answer here. All right. So Chiamo is saying R8.50 plus R3.50. And I'm going to put a bracket here because you know me, I like using brackets. R3.50 times S. Okay, let's have a look at this example here. This is a very good example because Tiamo, I don't know if she saw Sonia's post, but Tiamo was also saying, so we've got to add up these two costs. So on the left here is R8.50. So we need the running costs here. Let's say the running costs can be here, or the fixed costs, okay? And we need the production costs over here, or the variable costs. So on the left, we need the running costs, and on the right, we need the production costs. Now, production to produce, how much it costs to produce, it costs R3.50 to produce a sandwich. So it's R3.50 to make every sandwich. So this part of the equation is fine. That's how much it costs to produce the sandwich, to make the sandwich. Okay, now we just need to check the running cost here because we said, if you look up above, the running cost for the business, or the fixed cost is another word you could use, is 250 Rand a month. Now that got nothing to do with how many sandwiches you make. It's just a cost. It could be electricity, it could be rent, it could be anything. So the running cost here is going to be that 250 Rand. Okay, so yes, Sonia, we've added the two costs together. The one is the running and the other is, there we go, is the production. All right, all fixed. Okay, yes, very good. All right, so on the left, we have the fixed or running cost, and on the right, we have the variable or production costs. Okay, so your expenses equation must include both of these, fixed and variable, or running and production. Okay, you must include both of them. So now we have two equations that we can use to help this person with this business. Thank you very much for your help, guys, in helping create these equations. Now, I've marked a lot of MathLit exams where students struggle with writing these equations. Absolutely normal to use math kind of language to express a statement mathematically. It's not easy. My biggest hint for you is to find a letter to use for the items, the products. And here we can see we use the letter S for the sandwiches. All right. And for the income one, it's easy. You only have one type of income. It's the income from selling a sandwich. So this is the selling price here. So this is the selling price. So this is always the selling price of the item. Okay, that £8.50. Then in the expenses equation, like I said before, I'll use the different words now. I'm going to say the fixed cost, the fixed expenses versus the variable. You guys may be used to those words. We used different words last week. Fixed and variable. So you must have the two costs involved in the business, the fixed and the variable. The fixed one doesn't care about how many sandwiches you make. You just have to pay it anyway. The variable, though, depends on how many sandwiches you make. So we need to know the cost of making a sandwich, which in this case is £3.50. That's why we're saying 350 times however many sandwiches you make. We won't know what this variable cost will be until someone tells us how many sandwiches were made. All right, and then we can work that out. Okay, so these are the equations. Don't be worried about letters in your equations, guys. It's just a mathematical way of explaining the scenario. Okay, now, usually they ask you to create an equation. Sometimes they ask you to do the calculation first. But they often ask to create this equation and then use this equation. So here we go. This is where you guys are going to do the work. I will make these equations nice and neat for you so you can refer to them. Okay. So I'm going to neaten it up, make it nice and concise. Whoopsie. And then I'll put them up so you guys can use them when you answer the next question. So I'm going to take these equations. I haven't got it all. And then I'm going to move down to the next question. And I'll put these equations up there for you guys because you need to use them now. Okay, let's just do that. And I'll put them here. Make it a little bit smaller. And I'm going to write here I for income and E for expense. Okay, so there's the income and expense formulae. Now you're going to answer question Q2. Calculate the income and expenses for Jeremy's sandwich business if he sells 20 sandwiches in a month. Now, when we say the word sells, he obviously makes 20 and then sells 20. The number he makes and sells is the same. All right, so he makes 20 and he sells 20. 20 sandwiches, what will the income be and what will the expenses be? Great, I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes to work that out, and then we're going to compare answers. So get your pens and pencils ready on your calculators. Those two answers there, I need income and expenses for 20 sandwiches, please. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes. All right, the answers are coming through thick and fast already. Okay, so you do the calculation. I'll wait for you. All right, ignore the answers that are popping up. You don't worry about that. You do yours. And then we're going to compare. Okay. All right. So all these guys that are looking at the screen, don't worry about the screen. You do yours. It's important for you to try, and then we'll compare. Okay, we'll see. We'll compare answers. All answers are coming in thick and fast. Fantastic. Even though you guys are on holiday, still remember how to use the calculator. Very good. All right, very good. Answers are coming in. I'm going to put mine on the screen. While you guys are still busy, you carry on. Don't worry about what I'm doing. You carry on, get your own answers, and then we'll compare, yeah? All right, yes, answers are coming in thick and fast now. Excellent. Okay. Very good. There we go. Good job. Good job. Well done, everyone. Okay, answers are coming in, and they're still coming in, but as they're coming in, we're going to quickly revise these two here for 20 sandwiches. So you'll see here, all I've done is taken these equations, which is why they're so useful, and replaced the letter S with the number of sandwiches, in which case is 20. So you'll see here, the S is now replaced with 20 because this person made and sold 20 sandwiches. All right, now we need to get the calculator, let the calculator do the work for us. So it's 8 Rand 50 times 20, which gives us 170 Rand for the income. And get the calculator again. And we're going to say 250 plus, I like using brackets, 350 times 20. All right, and that'll give us 320. All right, very good. Well done. Good job, guys. Good job. Good job. All right, so there we go. We have income and expenses for 20 sandwiches. All right, let's move on. Next one. Question 3. Calculate the income expenses for 40 sandwiches, please. Income and expenses for 40 sandwiches, please. There's the next question. You guys do it. I'll give you 2 minutes. 40 sandwiches. I'll put the equation up here again. All right, there are the equations. I'll make it a bit smaller. All right, income and expenses for 40 sandwiches, please. All right, numbers are coming in. All right, you guys should have answers now. It's a quick calculation. Good. Yes, I see answers are still coming in. Good. Let's compare. So I've just changed the S now for 40. And I'm going to go up to my previous equation. Do you know, guys, with these calculators, you just press up and it goes back to the other equation. All right, I'm going to go to that equation. Just change the 20 for 40. Done. Didn't even have to press many buttons at all. All right, let's go down to the other equation. There it is, but that one's got 20 for expenses. I want 40. Done. 390. Okay, so we have 2 new answers for 40 sandwiches. All right, very good. Good job, good job, good job. Yes. Okay. Are you ready for the next one? Complete the table below to show the income for sandwiches sold in a month. Whee! All right, I'm going to put in some values here. I think that it was 120 or 170, sorry, 170 for 20 sandwiches, and it's 340 for 40 sandwiches. All right, who'd like to help me? You should have your calculators there. Who'd like to help me fill in this table? Raise your hand, raise your mighty hand. Someone needs to help me get these numbers, okay? Otherwise, we're going to have a whole lot of people just typing a whole lot of stuff. We're going to have numbers popping up all over there. Katlejo is going to help us. Katlejo, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Okay, 0 sandwiches.
0 sandwiches, we have 0.
Yes, because if the person doesn't sell sandwiches, they don't get any money. Good. All right, we've done, I'm going to just leave the rand sounds off. We've done 20 sandwiches, we've done 40 sandwiches, 60 sandwiches.
We're going to have 5T.
5, 10, 80. Now, Katlego is just changing. All she's doing is going to the equation like the one above here and changing that 40 for a 60 or an 80. It's very easy. Okay, I'll show you quickly.
And for the 80, we have 680.
Excellent. So what Katlego is doing is just changing that number to another one. All right. So it's 680 for 80. And for the
And
100?
then for 100, it's 850.
850. Thank you very much, Katlego. Excellent. Thank you very much. Who would like to help me with the expenses table, please? Somebody? Somebody? Anybody? Who would like to help me with the expenses table? You just have the equation on your calculator and you just change the numbers. I've got numbers for 20 and 40. For 20, it was 320 and 390. All right, so I've got 320 here, 320 Rand for 20 and 390 for 40. Who would like to help me? Hold on. Who would like to help me? Somebody out there, please? Guys, please don't make me do the work. You're all going to make me do the work. Ah, Katlego. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right, you're back again. Tell me, for 0 sandwiches, he makes no sandwiches. What are his expenses?
0.
Let's check. Have you got the equation on your calculator?
Let's check.
Yeah, let's get the equation on the calculator. I've got mine there. What does your equation look like?
It's 250.
250 plus. And then I've got a bracket. You might not have brackets. 3 Rand 50 times, and then however many sandwiches. So if we change that number for sandwiches to 0.
It's 250.
Yes. Now, why is it 250? Why? He's not making any sandwiches. He's still paying 250 in expenses. Why?
Yes,
Why?
because I don't know how to put it, but
Well,
think
if we go, yeah, tell me.
I think she's just producing more donuts, but there are no people buying them.
Okay, yeah.
According to my understanding.
Okay, it could be that, yeah. There's no one's buying, all right. Yes, okay, no one's buying. Lebogen's helping you out here on the message is saying, because the 250 that you're getting as the answer there is a fixed cost. Yeah, which means it doesn't matter how many sandwiches the person makes. Even if they make 0 or 1,000 sandwiches, the fixed costs are always there. For 0 or 1 million, the fixed costs are always there. So this person is not making any sandwiches, but the fixed cost is always there. And what's the fixed cost again? How much is it? 250.
Yes, sir.
All right. So for 0 sandwiches, you just see your fixed cost. Now, this is important. When we do the graphs on Thursday, that value there, remember this? It's important. All right. Katlego, help us out with 60. What are we getting for 60?
It's 460.
460. Good. And 80?
For 80, it's 530.
530.
Yes, sir.
530. Good. And 100?
For 100 is 600.
600. Katlego, thank you so much for your assistance. I appreciate it. You felt bad for me that no one was helping, and you're like, oh, I've got to help, sir. I know. Thank you, Katlego.
It's fine, sir.
Thank you very much, Aid. All right. So there are all the expenses for the same number of sandwiches sold. Now, here come the questions. This is the crux of owning a business. Question 6. Raise your mighty hand. Who's going to help me with question 6? There's all the information in front of you. We've created sandwiches. We understood the scenario. I mean, we created sandwiches. We created equations about sandwiches. We understood the scenario. We filled in a table with all the information in it. Now, here come the questions. Question 6. Does Jeremy make profit for the first sandwich he sells? Discuss why. Always why. Who can tell me? Does Jeremy make profit from the first sandwich? One sandwich. Does he start making profit from selling one sandwich? Yes, no. Why? Who can tell me? Yes, no. Why? Who's out there? Come on, guys. I know it's a holiday. Salome, come on, help me out. Salome, are you there? Oh, Salome's typing, I can see. Salome's busy typing an answer. All right. Who else is out there? Come on, guys. Who would like to help me? You guys have got your screens off. I'm sure you're doing other things now. You're supposed to be... There's some answers coming in. Bianca, very good. No sandwiches were sold. Does he make profit from the first sandwiches he sells? Discuss why. Does he make profit from one sandwich? We've got an indication here. We've got 0 sandwiches. We've got 20. All right. Bumble, yes, my man. Bumble.
Sir,
Yeah, tell me.
because Jeremy made profit from, he did not make the profit the first time because
What? Why?
no one did want to go and buy sandwich from him because they already have food inside their homes.
They do. You're right. You're right. No one wants to buy. He's not going to make anything if no one wants to buy because they must have bought something somewhere else. They've gone to the KFC on the way and they went past the stand and no one's buying. You're right, Bumble.
Yes,
Thank you. You're right. No one's buying. He's not going to make any profit. Come on, sir. Thank you, Bumble. Thank you very
sir.
much. No one is buying. Yes, no one is buying. Okay. No, because expense is bigger than income. Ah, now here's an interesting answer. So Salome's saying, sir, no profits because expenses are bigger than the income coming into the business. So if we look at the example of 0 sandwiches, all right, there's 0 there highlighted, and here's 0 here highlighted. Look at the expense value at the bottom. 250 are his expenses. His income is 0. This guy is not making profit. Okay, for 0 sandwiches. Do you think he will make profit for one sandwich if he sells one sandwich? Surely he's making money. Is it not going to be profit? Guys, profit for one sandwich? Will he make profit if he sells one sandwich? Yes or no? Just type in chat. So yes, he will make profit. No. So I was like, no, definitely not. If he sells one sandwich, ladies and gentlemen, put in chat. No, no profit. You guys are right. That's the first part of the answer. No, he's not making profit if he sells one sandwich. Now, this is normally a 3-mark question in the exam, ladies and gentlemen. You've got 1 mark out of 3 for saying no. You've got to also discuss why for the other 2 marks, and you want every mark. Why is he not making profit yet? Why? It's important. This is important to understand. Why, if he sells one, his money's coming in. Why, if he sells just one sandwich, is he not making profit yet? Why? You guys are right with the no, but why? For the other 2 marks, you want to get full marks for every question if you can. All right, let me help you out here. Because when he starts making a few sandwiches, this expense here, remember that the sandwiches cost him R3.50 to make, R8.50 to sell. So you think of the numbers, R3.50 and R8.50. Look how big his fixed expenses are, 250. He has got a huge value of 250 that he always has to pay, no matter how many sandwiches he sells. It's a big number. All right, and he's only getting R8.50 for a sandwich. He needs to sell a lot of sandwiches to start making some serious income. All right. All right, so there's Kawhi confirming my answer, saying if he sells one, he's not getting much income. He needs to sell a lot more to start making profit. Okay, you're right, Kawhi. Very good. Yes. All right, so Lomi's with a good answer there. The expenses are high and his income is low for one sandwich. He needs to sell a lot. All right, yes. Okay, you guys are on the right track now. Emmanuel,
Yes, sir.
tell me.
My answer is that the money he gets from selling one sandwich is less than the amount it costed. It costed him to produce it. I'm not sure if I'm making sense.
You're close. So the money he gets from one sandwich is much lower than his expenses. So he's not going to make a profit. That's the idea of profit, where your income, and someone else already mentioned this, your income is less than your expense. But why are his expenses so high for one sandwich? Look at that value there. If you make no sandwiches, you still got an expense of $250. So the fixed expense costs are very high. All right. Now you guys were right when you said the income is too low for one sandwich. He has to make a lot to get over that fixed expense of 250 Rand. Okay. So I'll say here his income from one sandwich is much lower than the expenses, or the expenses, yeah, let's say expenses due to fixed expenses. Oh, my handwriting is atrocious. It's holiday handwriting, guys. Okay, let's read that again. It says here, no, he's not making profit because his income from one sandwich is much lower than the expenses, which are high due to fixed expenses. All right. The expenses, because of the fixed expense, is too high when only selling one sandwich. Okay. Now, this is critical. If you have a business that has a lot of fixed expenses and you are selling a product, you've actually got to make a lot of the product to overcome those fixed expenses and start making profit. It's very important to remember. So we're not just learning about math lit for a test or an exam here. We're learning life lessons. When you have a business, remember that your running costs need to be as low as possible. Otherwise, you're going to have to sell a lot of your products to get over your running or fixed expenses, your fixed costs. Okay, so here we go. Here's the final question. How many sandwiches must Jerry make to make a profit? Now, how many sandwiches must he make to start making a profit? I'll show you the two tables. Where is he making profit? Somebody? Last question. Yeah, you're right, Katlejo. All right, think about the question. Where is he making profit? While you guys are thinking about that, Katlejo says, yeah, so but it's satisfying in selling your first product. You're right. It is satisfying. You're making money. Yes, you're right. It is satisfying. Ah, there we go. We got an answer ready. You guys should have been putting it into the chat there or unmuting to let me know. Where will they make profits? Well, profits. How do we work out profit? You take your income and you minus your expense. So we need to take these numbers and minus these numbers and get a positive answer, right? There we go. That's even more detailed. And Bob was saying more than 60. Okay. Profit must be higher than expense. Yes, Salome. So 60 or more. So guys are saying, sir, when you sell these, when you subtract these values here, oopsie. When you subtract these values, where do you get a positive answer? The first time you will see it is here at 60. Look at those values. You see there for 60, 510 is bigger than 460. 510 at the top for income is bigger than 460 for expenses. That's when they're going to start making profit. From there onwards, like Mbabo said, from 60 onwards. Okay, from 60 onwards in these two tables is where this person is making profit. Now, this little exercise is very useful in determining when we're going to start making profit, especially if you're selling products and you have fixed expenses that are in the way. We're going to do this again on Thursday, but we're going to graph it. and we'll see exactly the point where a business starts to make profit. Okay, so we will graph it, a very useful exercise as well. Always comes up in the exams. And we will determine exactly when the business starts to make profit. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure.